All right, everybody. Listen, now what I'm going to do is give you guys a chance to come rumbling on in here to make sure that we are live. I'm sure we are, but I have to use my phone because I don't have the ability to know that we're live. Looks like we are live according to what my phone says. Listen, now what I'm going to do is give you guys a chance to come rumbling on. All right. I have to put down the volume. Jana is going to be here just in a moment. It does sound like when I heard it on my phone that you guys can hear okay. So Luke, blessings to you. Hello to you as well. Isaac, God bless you as well. Deborah, Renee, Paul. Let's see who else we got in here. Carpenter. Forget that one. 777. Okay. All right. News and Preps. And Vape King, Arian Belk, Janet, Stephen, Kenneth, Way of the Blood, Edit Farrakos. All right, wait a minute. I got to come back up here. Look, News and Prep. All right. You got to tell me. Type in that chat while we're waiting on Jana here. Tell me a little bit about what do you do? I guess cover some news and some prepper things. Angel, blessings to you. Richard, Janet, Ann, AM, Zelrin, Patrick, Debbie, Cougar. Okay, here we go. Peter, Jennifer, Daniel, Lundy. If I keep doing this, we'll be here all day. So I better make sure somebody turns the air conditioner a little colder. My wife does not. I don't like it cold, but she does. And so she will not be happy that this is not very cold in here. So you might want to turn the air conditioner down a notch or so for you. All right, and we are live. Everything is working good. I don't know. I'll tell you one thing. If you guys can maybe post to your Facebook page or whatever while we're watching, Twitter account, let people know we're live. This is the second time we've done this on a Thursday. Last week we'd mentioned we were going to start at 2 p.m. Eastern, but it's very difficult really to know the time, especially in the middle of the day like that. So we'll see how it goes. And but we just wanted to be able to come and share some things with you. Oh wow, look, Jana just joined in. What do you know?
It's gonna be hard.
I know that. Oh gosh, I have to show that. So anyway,
We'll get closer.
okay.
So.
Yes, let's see. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, we're all right. You're right by the microphone. That way they can hear you with no problem, because that's really where the big issue was last time.
Yeah, make sure that they can hear now.
So, I know they can. I just have the volume turned down, right? Watch. So anyway,
Okay.
We'll
get closer.
okay.
So.
Yes, let's see. There? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So on the phone, we'll keep it turned down so we don't have any kind of rebound or anything like that. So we got to kind of do like a review of what we did last week, mainly because the audio was so messed up. We were trying to run it with the computer. I've really tried to make sure that all the audio is great. One of the things we got to make sure of now, though, is that the audio with the person speaking on here is also working properly. So this is Rabbi Mitzrachi. He is the Israeli-born rabbi who teaches up in New York. And we're going to play a little short clip of him real quick. First, I just want to make sure that we hear him okay, so I'm going to back it up about 10 seconds. Then we're going to make sure we hear it on your end as well without problem.
He fulfilled his mission in life, this goal. When the Messiah would come,
Sorry, in 1 second here. And we're going to play a little short clip of him real quick. First, I just want to make sure that we hear him okay, so I'm going to back up about 10 seconds. and we're going to make sure we hear it on your end as well without problem.
He fulfilled his mission in life, this God. When the Messiah would come, they...
Sorry, in 1 second. Still a little bit of an echo. All right, so what I'll try to do, I'm going to take, and you have to help me to remember that I'll mute our mic here, because that's what causes that little bit of echo, because this mic can really pick up very well. So, all right, here we go. Let's listen in, though, to what he has to say.
When the Messiah would come, they will remain. They won't die. Wicked Jews and wicked Gentiles will be cleaned from the face of the earth. There's hundreds of verses and sources for it among the prophets and the Zohar, the Holy Zohar, the Kabbalah. That's not the topic now. But they will remain. They will see the Jews building the third temple. There will be no anti-Semitism, no war, no armies, no weapon. All nations would live in peace. That's it. Everyone will know there's only one real religion. The religion of God is Judaism only. Everything that came later was all fake. Now everyone knows it. The righteous Gentiles will survive and the righteous Jews, everybody knows it. No disagreement about that. So it's not open for debate.
Okay, if we'll pause it right there for right now, but he's going into the Noahide laws, and but I know, Yanka, you had mentioned about Tucker Carlson and his stand on the Noahide laws. Is there a certain spot we need to go to on this video, or?
I don't know certain spot. I don't remember. Still, you have to play it from beginning. It's kind of worth watching.
Okay.
And since last time our audio wasn't good,
okay, this time
I
will
think
be
we
better.
need to review this just the same way we did last.
Okay.
But yes, Tucker Carlson, and that's concerning. Why? And I'm not against Tucker. I mean, some of the shows he has and views I agree with. Some don't. It's not a matter of that. Problem is that Noahide laws now are being discussed in public personalities like Tucker Carlson. He's a person that's watched by millions of Americans, right-wing Americans, right? So what we have here, that the seed of, Noahide laws are good, has been planted among those right-wing Republicans, I would say. And that is dangerous. That's very dangerous, because Tucker does not go into Noahide laws, what they exactly are. They're mentioning maybe 3 of them. There are generic laws that sound good, like you're not going to murder, you're not going to eat limb of a living animal while the animal is still alive. And when people hear this, they might say, oh, those are good laws. What's wrong with them? They're great. They're great laws, just like Tucker says. But they don't understand the sub-laws. They don't understand who is behind these laws, where these laws come from. They don't understand who has the power of interpretation of these laws and how everything is tied to these laws, even things like moment of silence in public schools, which now is a law in several states.
That's right.
So it's all the Noahide laws they are tied to those types of things, and people just can't make connection, and that's what's happening here. That's why it's important to talk about it.
Exactly. And the thing that came to my mind when I saw Tucker and what he was doing, it reminded me of the scripture where it says that it would be so close in the last days that even the elect could be deceived if it were possible.
Right.
So we're seeing a lot of good people like Tucker, who has really been very pro-conservative, and but yet he is falling. He's got a Jewish guy there. That's why he's got the hat on instead of a kippah. He's wearing a hat. He looks more like Gilligan from Gilligan's Island. And no disrespect to him, it kind of made me think of that when I saw that. But the point is, if you look at what Rabbi Mizrahi said just a moment ago, there will be no anti-Semitism So they're going to silence anybody and everybody what we're doing right now, they would consider anti-Semitic because why? We are going against their Talmudic law.
You see, first I would like to make sure people know there is something that's anti-Semitism. There is such a
That's
thing.
correct.
You know, there are people who hate Jews just because they're Jews.
And that's
Like,
anti-Semitic.
and that would be anti-Semitism. Just like there are people who, you know, whites who hate blacks, blacks who hate whites, or like, let's say you hate somebody for their beliefs, you hate Mormons and you truly hate them and discriminate against them, or men discriminate against women, or, you know, these type of things are real. But the problem here is who has a power of interpretation of the definition of anti-Semitism. And the problem is that they are now including into that definition of anti-Semitism any kind of criticism of Judaic religion, criticism of State of Israel.
Its
You
leaders,
cannot
etc.
criticize
Yes.
leaders of State of Israel if they do wrong, if they kill or have wrong views, or you can't speak your mind because you're immediately anti-Semitic. Okay, if you speak against Noahide laws, they say, oh, there will be anti-Semitism immediately. So you can't defend your own faith, you can't defend your own view now. So that's what the problem is. And also at this time I want to point out that it's okay for people to have various religions. Is just a fact of life. You know, we how would I say, we live in a free country. We have a freedom of religion. So are we against the Jews as people or their religion? I am actually for the Jews in a way that I don't mind if they go to their synagogues, keep their traditions. Go ahead, do that. Everybody does that, right? I'm not going to hate them for it or discriminate against them for it. But the problem is that there is a specific group of the radical Jews, I would say, who have their hands on a government or inside a government. They
Yes.
kind of have, they have ability to sway the views of the politicians to a certain degree, if not to very high degree, I would say.
Well, they own them. They're bought and paid for.
Exactly. So imagine if Mormons or Jehovah's Witnesses or Buddhists or Hindus had such power that they would be around the presidents, around the governors, and then they would slowly force definition of anti-Buddhism on our government, and they would be forcing our government to pass laws. I mean, some of the laws are not even passed in our country. They're passed in Israel. We know that Governor DeSantis will
Yes.
travel to the state of Israel
Just to pass a
just
law
to
for
pass
Florida.
laws for Americans, for Florida, like anti-Semitic laws. Now, what,
And they should be considered not legal and should be challenged because they were done in Israel. That's not the United
in
States.
reality, they're illegal, right?
Yes.
But, you know, are they going to enforce them? Because these things have been put into our legislative systems now. So we are not against the Jews. In fact, you know, you want to have your mitzvahs and traditions, go ahead, do that. Just like everybody has a freedom to believe what they want. Christians don't force their views on others. We can offer Christ, plant a seed, but I'm not going to force anybody to anything, right? But the problem again is that they have such power over government and legislation that it actually goes against our own freedoms. So, and this is where the line is drawn. This is why we are talking
Right.
about Noahide laws. This is why we are mentioning wrongs of the state of Israel.
Exactly. Exactly. Let's play this then and see exactly what happens here.
That's
Yeah,
all you got to
I've
do,
read 'em.
and you get into heaven. And they're pretty easy. They're great.
Okay, so here's the crossover you may not have known you were waiting for, and that is controversial comedian Ari Shaffir.
Okay.
Because, let's notice how Tucker Carlson says they're great. Now they're talking about Noahide laws.
Laws of Noah. That's
Yeah,
all you got to
I've
do,
read 'em.
and you get into heaven. And they're pretty easy.
They're great.
Okay, so here's the
They're great.
They're great.
They're easy. All you have to do is do that and you go to heaven. And he claims he's a Christian. And he says, they're great. I read them. They're great. And he basically agrees with that. Now, isn't that against Christian faith?
Well,
How can you
actually-
get to heaven when you're a Christian? What do you believe? How do you get to heaven? You have to have Christ.
Yeah. The thing is he'll go through it, because I've listened to the video that didn't have the commentator in here, and he goes through each and every one, and all he does is he's telling you the face of the law. He's not telling them
Some
what's
laws.
written in the Talmud, and behind it, all the details, the decapitation. This is why Jesus was crucified. He broke the law. I think it would be considered the one,
Blasphemy.
the blasphemy, because
He said he's son of God.
he didn't even say it. The Caiaphas said it.
Right.
And he said, "Thou sayest," and he said, "You've heard his blasphemy." Rips his clothes. He said, "He should be put to death." All right. So if you believe that Jesus Christ is Son of God, you have violated the Noahide law, and you don't even realize that, because they're not telling you that part. That's why I say it's so close it could deceive even the elect, because it does look good. Well, okay, if that looks good, why not keep the 10 Commandments that don't have all their sub-laws to it and go by that, and the heck with what they're trying to do now.
Right.
So anyway, you want to continue to play it?
Well, you can.
crossover you may not have known you were waiting for, and that is controversial comedian Ari Shaffir sitting down with former TV host, now extremely successful podcast host, Tucker Carlson. And Tucker keeps wanting Ari to speak about religion. Ari speaks about the fact that he went to yeshiva when he was younger. He studied the Jewish religion in a formal setting. And Tucker keeps on asking about it. So I'm going to show you this clip. It's a short clip where they're discussing the Jewish view of what non-Jews have to do to gain a place in the world to come and to be considered good people according to the Jewish religion. All right, we're going to watch that, and then afterwards I'll come back. I am a rabbi, so I'll explain a little bit more. I'll fill in more than what Ari told Tucker, and maybe even tell you what, if I were in that seat, what I would have told Tucker that he didn't ask. Let's watch the clip.
The non-Jews have 7 laws of Noah. That's
Yeah,
all you got to
I've
do,
read 'em.
and you get into heaven. And they're pretty easy.
They're great.
They're pretty easy. Don't eat an animal while it's still living.
Exactly.
Should be a no-brainer.
Don't kill.
Don't kill. Harder for some people, but not others. Don't rape. Even harder for some people, but most are still on the right side of it. It's not that hard. And you get to go to heaven, and you'll be right alongside a rabbi.
Well, not only that, they're like very reasonable.
Yeah, they're not like hard ones to do.
No, they're all kind of rooted in natural law.
Yeah.
No, I read that, and
Yeah, when you convert, they're like, what are you doing this for? You're just going to make it harder on yourself. You're going to heaven already.
That's interesting.
Okay, so Tucker likes it. He read them. He knows what they are. He says they're great. Presumably that means he thinks society would do well if it followed these laws. But what are these laws? Ari couldn't exactly remember what they all were. Here are the laws. And by the way, out of the 7, 6 of them are prohibitions. Only the 7th, the last one, is a positive commandment. In Jewish law, we generally...
So this man here, if people will watch this, he's going to explain exactly what the laws are, just in case somebody has still questions or never heard about Noahide laws. They're basic 7 laws. They're saying 6 of them are negative, 1 is a positive. The 7th positive law is that Gentiles are mandated to have courts of justice to enforce the previous 6 laws. And also, what is the punishment for breaking Noahide laws? It's death by sword, more specifically, death by decapitation.
Yes.
And it is a subject that needs to be dealt with quite in depth under every single law, Noahide law, because the sub-laws, I mean, there is basic 7 Noahide laws, but there is how many sub-laws, Steve, like over
There's
100?
well, according to Rabbi Tovia Singer, who has spoke about these, he said there's about 100 100 sub-laws.
Right.
And this is where the question was brought up, and even Rabbi Mizrahi was being asked the question, and he said, Rabbi Mizrahi in one video, he goes like this. He said that there are 1 million Buddhist idolaters. He said, and according to our law, they must die.
Right.
He said there are 1 million Christians. He said, and according to our law, they must die as idolaters. Yeah. And he goes into all these different religions. At first, he starts off with 1 billion idolaters on the earth that have to die.
Right.
So
exactly.
The plan is there.
Yes.
And the only thing that keeps them from being able to enforce it are those laws. In fact, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this would be maybe ideal time to play this. Watch what he says here in reference. He's talking about Noahide laws, but it's kind of an obscure one here. Watch what he has to say.
Not just Jews that speak one word of empathy to the gays. One word. I understand them. I accept it. It's not his fault. He's still religious. Who am I to judge him? All these fake expressions will be severely punished beyond what he can dream about or her. The punishments that the people that accept such an abomination with no pain, no problem whatsoever, and sometimes they send messages on social media, I love you, we are with you, we support you, kol hakavod, great that you came out. They admire the Chilul Hashem he made.
Okay. There
Yeah,
you have
so
it.
you-
Severe.
severe,
Beyond what you could even imagine.
Wow. So death, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Decapitation. So yeah, when your head's rolling around on the floor, then you'll realize that somebody now has control.
Yeah. I smile because he's actually funny the way he talks.
Yeah, he
It's
is.
like-
He is. It is kind of comical,
It
know.
is,
But
it
at the
is,
same
yeah.
time, the thing is what people don't realize is what if somebody like Rabbi Mizrahi had control?
Well, the problem
carry it
here, the problem or the truth here is that he is telling you exactly the views of those radical rabbis that took over the state of Israel, right?
Yes.
And Smotrich and all these Ben Gavir and Netanyahu is now with the right-wing government, but that they are of that view, what Rabbi here is saying.
Yes.
So
Yes.
when you listen to this rabbi, you know what they are about. And then the rabbis who are standing around our presidents every year re-signing Noahide laws, or when they're calling on Jews to pray in our Congress, okay, which you have the video over there. Well, those are the rabbis from Chabad organization, and those are the ones Noahide law promoting rabbis, and they are in our Congress, United States Congress, performing prayers officially. So that's where the problem is.
Yes, and I'm gonna take real quick. I know it's right here somewhere real close. At least I thought it was the Poway rabbi when he was there at the United Nations. Let me just put that in real quick too. Maybe that'll bring it up there. He actually, what people are failing to see is everywhere you turn. Here he is, right here. Is the bringing out the whole thing about the Noahide laws. And here he is. Here he's the rabbi. You see the cast on his hand, and certainly, like you said, when there are things that are anti-Semitic, we'll stand up and say it's anti-Semitic. Somebody going inside a synagogue and shooting and killing Jewish people is definitely anti-Semitic,
Oh,
and it's totally wrong.
Right.
But do we need Noahide laws to have that dealt with?
No, well, this is what, before you play this, and I want to actually comment on Rabbi Goldstein here. We don't need Noahide laws even as a nation, because
don't.
everything that's in that law, like we already have definitely covered within our legislative system. Like it's not legal to murder someone.
Right. It's not.
It's being dealt with, right?
Right.
The only thing I can think of is committing adultery. Like they want to have religious laws that if you commit adultery, you're going to be put to death by decapitation.
But
or whatever.
they're actually, that's under their whole ban of sexual laws, where they would put to
Exactly.
death homosexuals, they would put to death
Right.
people that are
Right. So that's
committing
not
adultery.
within our legislation, within our judicial system, because we are not a religious state. It would be awful. I mean, go and watch Handmaid's Tale movie or a
Right.
series. Just watch them and see if you would like to live in a society like this, right? So I'm
Right.
sure you would not. So
And think about it when you're looking at, for example, this adultery issue. Because some people would argue, they would say, well, according to the Old Testament, you were to stone the people for committing
well,
adultery.
we are going by New
Jesus, though,
Testament.
that's
Yeah.
right. Jesus, because our country is supposed to be founded on Christian faith and Christian belief. And Jesus had that very issue brought to him, and he would not condemn the woman to death. He also said it's not an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, even though Moses had it written in the law.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
this is what we have to look at.
Grace.
Well, yeah, we can't do harm to animals like that. It's called, we have animal cruelty laws.
We do, and
know?
you can't steal. I mean, we have theft laws.
Yeah,
I mean,
everything except the one about, the immorality on the sexual things
yes.
there.
So
And the reason why we don't is because mainly they're dealing with, you've got so many different opinions on this and things. It'd be very difficult to enforce it without a lot of innocent people dying in the first place.
exactly, it would be absolutely horrific to have a Jewish religious state. That would be the end
absolutely.
of our liberties in every
This
way
is what,
imaginable.
This is why. Listen, friends. If pay attention to what Rabbi Mizrahi was saying in the first place. Make sure we got okay. It is recording here. So, Rabbi Mizrahi, he said he said a lot of Gentiles, a lot of Goyim and Jews will be gone. Right? What does he mean by the Jews, though? In Israel, more than 50% of Israelis before this whole October the 7th fiasco, they were protesting the Ben Gvir, the Smotrich, the whole crooked government going the judicial reforms. They were against it. They were talking about, they were protesting in the tens of thousands in the street. The country was coming apart. Why? They didn't want a theocracy. The government is trying to bring about a theocracy because in their minds, they're helping the Orthodox community to bring about the coming of the Messiah, which he's already come. But in order to bring it about, they have to do this. This is why I'm writing the book right now about this whole issue about the building of the third temple. It's not biblical. It's biblical. It's going to happen, yes. But the biblical aspect tells you that they totally are wrong.
Yes, and if you don't know as a Christian interpretation of
And then Paul teaches, so does Peter, James, every one of them, that that we are the temple of the living God.
You can see Christians don't know the New Testament because there is so much shift and focus on the Old Testament and physical kingdom and physicality that they totally ignore teachings of the New Covenant, New Testament. Interpretation of our faith is not supposed to be through the third temple of the Jews. We know exactly what the temple of God is, and it is our body. And what a privilege that Most High God decided to live within you.
Right.
Okay,
And this
isn't
is
it
why
something?
they're trying to Judaize Jesus.
Yes, they're
now.
Judaizing Christianity and interpreting it through Judaic eyes, and this is like total mess right now. But anyway, I want to go back to Rabbi Goldstein, and before you play him, he's going to explain Noahide laws. Ask for Noahide laws as a, if we have Noahide laws, there won't be shootings like this. That's not true.
There'll still
That's
be the
not-
shooting.
The shooters are punished.
We
Even
already
within
have,
our
thou shalt
judicial-
not, we already have in the judicial system.
Exactly.
You can't kill, you can't go into a church, you can't go into a senate, you can't, none of these things can be done.
So they're just using this to try to promote and gain public agreement
Right.
for the Noahide laws. But notice how they're hypocrites, Steve, because that very rabbi committed crime. If you Google him,
Oh yes,
he committed crime. What is what, money laundering or?
yes. There he was found guilty of money laundering.
Yeah, is he in jail now?
Oh, I don't even know.
Okay,
I doubt it.
So all I want to say is that those are hypocrites. He's coming with all these grandeur words in
Yeah.
United Nations for the Noahide laws and how we need it to be a good society. And next thing you know, he's accused of a enormous crime he committed.
Yes.
So
Here we go.
Randy is with us right now. Lori greets me so beautifully, says, Rabbi, when is the memorial service happening? I said, in 15 minutes. I turn around to go wash my hands to get ready for this very special prayer, when suddenly I hear a thundering sound of gunshots. I couldn't believe it. I didn't know what it was. I turned around and I see in the lobby of our synagogue, a house of worship, a home where children come to celebrate, to sing, to play, a house of hope, a house that's supposed to be a house of safety, that cuddles you with God. You're walking into God's home, our Chabad center. And I turn around and I see this terrorist, this young 19-year-old standing in the lobby holding an AR-15. And I'm looking down the barrel of it. Behind me are children who are playing and enjoying the holiday, including my own grandkids. I have a fraction of a second to decide, what do I do? Do I collapse and hide? The gun is pointing at me. Or do I think about the children? It wasn't a doubt in my mind what I'm to do. We need to save the children. I turn around to go grab the children, and the terrorist takes aim at me and shoots at me and blows off my fingers. Notwithstanding that, I grab the children to safety. As soon as the children are away, my 4.5-year-old granddaughter Musia looks at me and cries, says, Zaidi, Grandpa, why are you bleeding? I'll never forget the look on that face. Really, in 2001, what happened? Out of our synagogue. The second part of the verse, HaKadosh Baruch Hu Matzilenu Miyodim, God will spare us. And that is exactly what happened. God has spared us. The most harmful, not just for the Jewish people, but for the world. Stalin killed Jews, but he killed 150 million of his own. Hitler killed Jews and killed how many millions of their own. The jihadists first killed Jews there. And you hear a word of anti-Semitism, an innuendo, an underhand joke. That's where it begins. Use this finger and point to God and say, this is not how God intended this world to be. God intended this world not to be a jungle, not to be a wasteland, but this world is a world that we can truly turn into be an amazing world. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget this moment. We have a chance to watch civilization turn into peace or the opposite. Do not forget this moment. Never again shall we ever have to live through such tyranny, such terrorism. On the contrary, let this day, it's going to be filled with love and beauty until greater times with the coming of Mashiach. Realize it's not just about the Jewish people, it's about the future of civilization. Do we want to Madam President, social and apology. Second part of the verse, HaKadosh Baruch Hu Matzilenu Miyodim, God will spare us. And that is exactly what happened. God has been the longest, the most, all of you here have been given by God, are our future. My Rabbi Menachem, acts of love and kindness. We must become proactive ambassadors of light, even more openly and more brazenly, and be flashed around the world in social media, and media can be used to spread darkness and hatred. Something positive, and that is not to fight darkness with darkness. Maybe standing here at the United Nations, whenever darkness decay, and remember the symbol of losing a finger, that's where it begins. Use this finger. Let this day,
por su profunda
tolerance for others.
Sorry, we didn't have the thing on.
Oh,
I got
okay.
sidetracked when we changed the video. I apologize about that. I'll edit that out when I go to upload this.
Okay. Well, I was talking about Cave of the Patriarchs massacre that Baruch Goldstein
Right.
in Israel. There was a physician, a right-wing Jewish person who came and killed enormous number of Muslims while they were in worship in a mosque. So you see, this is like that rabbi here was talking about, so emotionally about somebody coming and shooting while they were praying in their Chabad house of worship. And I agree. I mean, nobody should go through such thing. Whether
That's
you
right.
are in a mosque or a synagogue or a church, it doesn't matter. You shouldn't go through that. But on the other hand, we have this Baruch Goldstein. Okay, he was the member of the Kach party at the time. If you know about Ben Gavir
Yes.
and a Kach party, I used to talk about this a lot. Okay, well, he went to a mosque and killed a bunch of Muslims while they were praying.
Yes.
Okay, so nobody talks about that. And you see, our law as Christians, don't do to others as you don't want them do to you. So that's basically how we should be. You don't do to others what you don't want them do to you. And they should be talking about this Cave of the Patriarchs massacre. And everybody should look this up, who Baruch Goldstein is. So anyway, that's where you see the hypocrisy.
Yes. Do you want to go? I'll skip that right now because there's no sense in trying to add things like that there.
Right.
You've got a lot of information here for us.
I don't think we
Israel
can
Nation.
go through everything today, Steve. I kind of
Okay.
wanted to just kind of repeat what we talked about last time
Okay.
and people couldn't hear. I wanted to also speak a little bit on Trump and him bringing back the death penalty.
Right.
Death, President Trump's long love affair with capital punishment. I just know that he's talking about this a lot, and just like this moment of silence law in public schools that people don't know, it looks so innocent because it's like, okay, what's wrong with 1 minute of silence? Well, there's nothing wrong with it.
That's right.
On the outside, the problem is who put that law in, whose idea it was, and it's Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneersen's idea And officially, he wants to put that law into schools because they're going to force the Noahide laws through education system.
Yes.
You see, so they're kind of putting their one leg into the system. So it looks so innocent, right? What's wrong with it? Nothing. Well, it shouldn't be a law in the first place. Okay, so here we go. Trump will talk about, well, all the terrorists deserve to die without a trial, and it needs to be speedy death, like quickly execute them. Well, that's not constitutional, Steve. Everybody has a right to trial.
Exactly.
Okay, so with this type of speech, and with all these Chabad rabbis around him,
That's very
afraid
similar to the
about
way
this.
the Jewish mindset is. Let's play a little bit of this video then, and let's see.
Supported the death penalty. I've always supported the death penalty. I don't even understand people that don't. We have to bring back the death penalty. They have to pay the ultimate price.
By the way, on that rally, he was speaking about anti-Semitism. Okay.
Yes.
So he's letting you know.
And when he says just general term terrorists, well, who defines who terrorist is? The latest I heard that the fundamental Christians are considered domestic terrorists. So be very careful when you support Trump and his death penalty.
Yes. Because you may
laws,
find yourself on
because-
the wrong end of the
Yeah,
wrong
he's-
side of the equation
right.
here. All right, we'll continue.
Death penalty. Bring it forth.
Now they give the death penalty where they give a slight injection so that they don't have pain when the needle goes in to slowly put them to sleep. I mean, these people have to be treated very, very severely, and they're not treated severely.
Very much in favor of the death penalty.
Let me just say, you notice what he said? They got to be treated very, very severely. Remember what Rabbi Mizrahi said?
Yeah.
He said they will pay the price so harshly, something you could never even imagine. They will be punished severely. That was the expression. So that's why, if you pay attention to what Trump is saying, his speech is very similar to the way Rabbi Mizrahi would actually say. Let's continue on.
Especially for terrorists and especially for people that, killers that you see so many with the girls that are being killed and then they capture these guys. I am so for the death penalty. We will believe the right punishment, and we all do, for cop killers is called the death penalty.
Remember the old days, a deserter, what happened? Bang.
He deserted. In the old days when we were a strong country, it would be boom, gone.
You know, spies in the old days used to be executed.
Bing, and it goes quickly, right? It's called, you're dead. Treason. It's treason. You don't even hear that word. It's treason.
In the old days, boom, firing squad. No, it's true. I love the Second Amendment.
Somebody said the other day, well, he had some psychological problems. Well, in the old days, bing, bong. When we were strong. The drug dealers, the drug pushers they're really doing damage. Some countries have a very, very tough penalty, the ultimate penalty. They don't have a big drug problem in China, but they have a thing called the death penalty. In China, if you're selling drugs, it's death. It's the death penalty. I said, Mr. President, do you have a drug problem? No, we do not. I said, big country, 1.4 billion people, right? Not much of a drug problem. I said, what do you attribute that to? Well, the death penalty. So, death penalty. We give death penalty to people that sell drugs. Death penalty. Quick trial. Death penalty. That's it.
Now, I got to say something here on that. It's on. Thank you for the reminder, though. Right? The one thing that gets me, the first murder ever committed, and it was a murder in the Bible, was Cain killed Abel. And yet, the Heavenly Father would not allow him to be put to death.
Right.
And then when we see when Jesus comes along and they're wanting to administer the death penalty, he also would not accept the death penalty.
Right.
So people, it's almost like it's like bloodthirst, right? Everybody wants to kill somebody, right? Think about it. That's how our Lord and Savior died. False accusation. False accusation cost him his life. He actually was put to death under Noahide laws. Keep that one in mind. And again, like I said, it'll be so close, it would deceive even the very elect. Where would you like to go next?
I just would like to continue next time.
Okay.
People
All
don't
right.
have long attention spans.
Right. And we do want this to be quality video every time.
Yes.
We're trying, and I made the
just wish we
mistake
had
of
that
not pushing
video.
the button a little bit ago there, but I'm doing that mainly because, and that's another one I'll try to figure out, is that when the video plays, that it doesn't. It wasn't really bad, but I could tell it's picking up a little echo, so I really wanted it to be super good quality. But it's probably really better that I just say, nope. I could actually turn the volume maybe down a little bit here, and I think they would still hear it okay there, and then we can leave our microphone on. So, but at least it was a minor one.
Okay.
All right, good to go?
Mm-hmm. Good to go. Yeah.
Okay. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us today here on Israeli News Live. And we're going to go for this again next Thursday. Sound good to you?
Sure.
2 or 3 o'clock, something like that. We'll try to go live again. Looks like we got about, close to 600 people are on right now. So I think we'll go back to the way it used to be. 2,000 or 3,000 will be on live once they know that you're here.
Well, the problem is also time. People are at work at that time.
Yeah.
So,
well, maybe we'll pick a different time frame to do that in.
It's okay.
That
They
might be
can
an
watch
idea.
still.
Also, too, tonight, StephenBennoon.com. You can come listen live. I just put over on Patreon last week. So, where is it at? Oh, nope, right there. Here we go. Last week, I'm starting on the Ezekiel, what I call the Ezekiel series there. I'm trying to address those issues that people are looking at with what's happening in Israel right now. All the nations that Israel is really starting to inflame. When they talk about all these nations coming against Israel, if you're going to attack everybody, eventually, people are going to not take it so easily. So anyway, I am going into that. Join us tonight. That's StephenBennoon.com. Or if you don't catch it on our, where you can come there live and watch it there at 8 p.m. Eastern, then you can catch it over on our Patreon channel. Some of these things are exclusive to Patreon, and mainly it's because you can go listen to it. It doesn't cost you a dime, but hey, $1, you can go back and listen to everything I've ever posted on Patreon. So think about it like that. Very easy way to support the broadcast. And of course, IsraeliNewsLive.org. Please take and visit our page there, and you can help support the broadcast there. Whoop, I just messed that all up, didn't I? You can actually support the broadcast, IsraeliNewsLive.org, by mail, Danoon Institute, P.O. Box 156, Sunbright, Tennessee, or right there online. Just click right there online. And then to EMP Shield, we are about to get permission. They've already gone through a lot of the process. EMP Shield, we've got a little mini documentary we did on them. Incredible information. It's about a 30-minute video. You'll want to see that. Jana speaking with the scientist there, the president of the company. We got to speak a little bit with the vice president as well, Rowdy. So I think you'll really enjoy that information. But if you want to get one, and I really think at this point now, with the crazy weather we're having, and also too, I found out that you get, if it gets destroyed because of a lightning strike on your home, company will replace it for free. You got a $50 little surcharge you have to pay, but they replace your thing for free, even though the lightning destroyed it. So EMP also, very big threat. Talk about that later, but thank you for listening.
The code is INL50.
Yes, INL50. I always
That's
show
how
it
you
too. Yeah.
save
If you go to the
money.
cart, right, and you've already got something, which I didn't put anything. Let's say if you just hit shop. Let's say if you wanted to go for your car. The big one to me is your car, but home is really a major issue too. They even have it for the motorcycle. Watch for sales. Sometimes they have sales, but at this point in time right now, because of the serious threats that we're facing, I don't think waiting for the sale at this point anymore is the right way to go. I think it's better just to do what you got to do. It's not showing me to do it this time. Normally I can click on something and add to the cart and it'll let me show you, but INL, there we go. So you just go right there where it gives you the coupon code, click INL 50. They're going to take $50 off when you apply that code, and they'll also help support the broadcast here. So thank you very much. That's not correct what I got on there. I forget what I did the motorcycle one. But anyway, it'll take $50 off when you do it. I think I've done it so much it doesn't let me do it anymore. God bless you. Thank you for listening. Stephen and Jana Benoon with Israeli News Live.